course, with a new owner, a new president, general manager, and head coach, and pretty much a revitalized roster, taking on the BC Lions, who also have a new general manager and a new head coach, and plenty of changes on the roster as well. It's the Most Bomber, Jonathan along with Julio Caravetta. And Julio, usually when we show up to work, you're the calm one. I'm the one who, how would we put it, gets excited. Today?
Well, you're always excited.
But in a bad way.
No, in a good way. In a good way. But I'm usually try to, but man, oh man, if you're trying to come down to this stadium today, holy cow, I don't normally get too boiled over, but man, oh man, was I hot today.
I don't think I've seen you without
it was frustrating. And hey,
well, it's starting in North Burnaby on Hastings.
Yeah, exactly. There's some parade happening.
It's like the Heights Day or
I don't know.
I think it's Don Taylor weekend. They're celebrating
well,
that.
Whatever it is, it's a big
I know
celebration.
tomorrow's Italian Day. I think today is like, Taylor Day or whatever. So anyway, they've got all that going on. And they come downtown. There's a concert, next door?
Yeah. And then, there's going to be 54,000 people here.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting texts from my wife and kids. They're outside trying to get in. And, everyone's probably, wants to get in, make sure they're going to see Snoop Dogg. But, hey, I'm excited now. We got real football happening. We've spent quite a few weeks in Kamloops dealing with preseason, all the speculation about this guy and that guy, and now we've got finally a final roster on both these teams and two Western Division rivals that are going to get after it here tonight.
This, of course, is the Able Auctions pregame show, closing your business anywhere in BC. Assets to sell. Email sales@ableauctions.ca. Our good friend Jeremy Dodd and his crew. And we have a big show for you today. In fact, a long show for you today because of the fact that, Snoop's going to kind of have his concert. They're going to delay kickoff, I think, to about 7:20 or so. So we'll have a little extra time to set this one up today. You will hear from, head coach Buck Pierce making his CFL debut as the head coach. You're going to hear from quarterback Nathan Rourke in conversation with Julio. We have interviews lined up with Micah Owie, James Butler, Jonah Tavai. You'll hear from him in this segment. Plus, Glenn Suter from TSN is going to stop by in the next segment. But Julio, you look at this game, man, as much as we talk about the Lions and the changes they've made, I look over at Edmonton's roster and what they've done. You talk about changes from tip to toe. The Elks have done it.
Well, look at their starting defense, folks. They've just completely restructured their defense, and it all starts up front. All four guys were for all free agent pickups. You got a new safety, a new halfback, a new corner, 19 new starters. 19 new starters. Clearly, Ed Hervey, when he was appointed the new general manager of the Edmonton Elks, that he had a clear vision on what the team needed. And given the history of the Edmonton Elk and Eskimos, it was enough, right, for the new owner. And they went out and got Chris Morris, the new president, who's royalty in Edmonton. And there's a lot of pressure on them to win. You think about the last three seasons, what they start 0-3, 0-7, 0-7. Last three seasons.
We'll get into this later on when we go through the Sandman Hotel starting lineups. But when I look at the players they've acquired, I had a nice chat with Aaron Grimes, who's one of their assistant coaches now, former DB in the league, played here in BC for a couple of years. And I talked to Aaron about their acquisitions. They're all guys that have won, that know what it takes to win. Whether it's Royce Metier, a.k.a. Mechie back in the day, Royce Metier at safety, who's won Grey Cups, whether it's, Robbie Smith up front, of course, a Grey Cup hero with the Argonauts. Jake Ceresna won one last year in Toronto. He's back in Edmonton. Brinkman, Barlow. There's so many players on this team that have that winning pedigree, and it's something I think that Ed Hervey's organization really targeted.
And I don't think normally you would go out and be this heavy on free agency. I think that sometimes that gets you in trouble, but given the scenario that is in front of Edmonton, they want to win. They have to bring back that base. And here's the thing too, Moj. Last year, given everything that happened in the poor start, they came on pretty strong at the end. Yeah. Remember, the last 11 games, I think they were 7-4. So they did a good job turning things around. But clearly, Ed Hervey had a vision of what he wanted and how he wanted to get there, and they went out and got it. They spent a lot of money on free agency, and they, as you said, and I know we'll go through it, and you've mentioned a few of the names. They have completely restructured.
So let's talk about the local team here. It is the BC Lions, of course, pregame show. 74. That would be the over-under. You know what the over-under is? How many times you probably got asked, how's Nathan looking?
Yeah.
could cost him years, but he knows if he makes a mistake, he'll be all right.
Absolutely right, Coach. You hit it right on the head, and that weighs on you, right? That weighs on you when you got that kind of pressure. And I don't think people realize that when you're down there and he's trying to make an NFL roster, and you're a quarterback, because that's the marquee spot. Every single snap that you get is going to be evaluated not by one, but probably by about 30 people.
ICBC countdown to kickoff continues. We're about a minute, probably an hour and 18 minutes away from kickoff. We're big fans of getting home safe. If you're drinking at the game, make a post-game plan. All right, let's hear from BC Lions defensive lineman Jonah Tavai before we go to break. Tavai is one of those players who is second year pro with the Lions, and man, did he look good in training camp. Asked him about being more comfortable in his sophomore season.
It's definitely been a big change for me. Coming from the States, obviously, the 1 yard off, the down and distances, it changes the scenarios and it changes everything that you got to know about the game. But now I'm in my second year. I still am just here to learn. I have so many vets in our D-line room. I get so much knowledge from them, from Coach Randy, with his 40-plus years of coaching. So I'm still learning. I'm trying to bring some energy to practice, get our team going so that none of them are thinking, oh man, we're just out here. And that's just what I'm trying to bring out to the team.
Last year, run defense was an issue at times. How much more disciplined are you going to be this year in terms of gap cancellation? Because it seems like Coach Melvin, that's one thing he really stresses. There's not going to be too much freelancing, I don't think, on the D-line.
It's not so much freelancing, but we definitely have a job to do. And if we're doing our job, our run game should be adequate enough. Last year we had some injuries that kind of jumbled around, so it was pretty much. Now this year with Coach Randy and all of his knowledge, we got all of our D tackles that are back this year. They're all knowing that last year just can't happen again. And so with us going into the game like that, it's not so much of a technique part, but an attitude part.
Jonah, best play. BC Lions defensive tackle Jonah Tavai. All right, we'll take a quick break on the other side. TSN's Glenn Suter stops by to break down the season opener for the Lions against the Edmonton Elks. You're listening to the Able Options BC Lions pregame show on 730 CKNW, the BC Lions Radio Network.
with your needs and reach your target audience from every platform. Digital, social, sports marketing, radio, TV. jmmedia.ca. Taking your advertising to new heights.
The Construction, Maintenance, and Allied Workers Union represents over 8,000 workers in Canada. CMA works for people first and will fight to improve their compensation, working conditions, and their overall lives. Canadian-based and operated, CMA is a Canadian union that looks out for Canadians. For more information on the Construction, Maintenance, and Allied Workers Union, please visit cmaw.ca.
Become a member of a talented, diverse team forging a bright future for Canadian shipbuilding at Seaspan Shipyards, one of the most modern shipyards in North America. Seaspan is delivering its promise of ships built in Canada by Canadians. Join the Seaspan team today for a rewarding career in the Lower Mainland. Seaspan is hiring hundreds of skilled trades workers in the Lower Mainland: welders, millwrights, electricians, and pipe fitters. Apply at seaspan.com today. The future is yours to build.
Summer's here and it's time to party, Lion style. Join the BC Lions on Saturday, June 21st at 4 p.m. as they take on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for our first ever summer camp game. Celebrate the season with our pre-game backyard bash, complete with summer camp games, a campground cookout, and even s'mores. And don't miss the halftime
Make sure you
walk
put at the
honoring
corner. Put at the corner.
Email sales at ableauctions.ca.
Lions in the Edmonton Elks today at BC Place Stadium. Season opener for both teams. Coach Bomber Jonovich along with Julio Carabetta. ICBC countdown to kickoff continues. We are an hour and 12 minutes away from kickoff at Big Nancy Miniville Stadium. Tricky as the game is supposed to be planned. Thrilled to have Glenn Suter from TSN stop by.
Hey, you know things are happening for real when we see this guy. Hey,
It's like, it's big.
it's
right?
on. It's big and it's on.
50,000 people, Snoop Dogg and Suit.
Well, I'm wondering if we're going to have a air quality warning once Snoop hits the stage.
They could have had one outside, but trust me, on the way in.
Yeah, I know.
It was pretty crazy.
Oh my goodness, you can smell it the moment you came around. But wasn't that cool out there? I mean, it is jam-packed. People are having a great time. Beautiful night. I mean, this is what a Mardoma wants to see. I mean, packed house for the opener. Whole bunch of people that'll be sitting here watching this game tonight. Will be watching their first game maybe a long, long time, or maybe ever. First game ever. And who cares if it was something else that brought them here? They're going to be entertained tonight. Canadian quarterback.
Here's the thing, because there are critics out there that'll say, wow, you know, a lot of people leave out. Yeah, they'll leave people, but here's my point to this. My point is this: even if you get 20%, 30% fans that have come for the first time and now become engaged with the team, become engaged with the franchise, you win. And I'll tell you the other thing too. We have an old friend of ours, Big Daddy Pratt. Want the truth, follow the money. Do you remember that one? If you want the truth, follow the money. And guess what? This pass has gotten bigger every year. So it has to be working. Otherwise, it would be a hard building when they put more money into it.
And the average attendance here at BC Place is going up. It's trending in the right direction over the last few years. So there are people staying. And, you know, I'll take it further, Moj, with your 10 or 20%. If 10% stay, and let's say that's 1,000 people, and they are entertained with the football on the field, and then they go tell two friends, and two friends, and so on. And that's really how you build it from the ground up. Not the fancy, you know, marketing all year and stuff like that, but you build it from the ground up. All they have to do is get in here once, see the entertainment, not just the pregame show, but the game, and get 10% back that grows quickly.
As we get to the game.
Yeah.
I know you're excited. I'm excited. Two great young quarterbacks, regardless of whether or not they're Canadian. I know that's a bonus. But both these teams arrive here a little bit differently. Talk about a little bit of all the change in Edmonton. My goodness, I was looking 19 new starters. He's completely revamped that defense. And then you throw in Anderson and Morgan, the two linebackers that were unbelievable last year.
Yeah.
This defense on paper looks pretty good.
Well, I would, BC fans won't want to hear this, but quarterbacks aside, I would say from a strict talent based on
resume, there's more talent in Edmonton's locker room right now than there is in BC. Not to say that the Lions don't have a lot of good players. When you look across that D line in Edmonton, Serezna, Robbie Smith, they right now have the Grey Cup champion D line from the Argos a year ago.
They do.
Their secondary is completely different with Royce Metier at safety. Metier is the guy who had 85 tackles last year, all-star player at safety. Again, former Argo champion. So, and you talked about their two linebackers. Miles Morgan and Nick Anderson are as good as it gets. So, you know, I think they are. This is what I've been saying about Edmonton for a while, guys. The Edmonton Elks in the last 2 years have had great talent and terrible teams. Because talent is only part of the puzzle, as you know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to blame anybody for this, but there are times when a coach with the Chris Jones type of approach can almost divide a group. I mean, remember McLeod Thompson versus Trey Ford,
Yeah.
all the back and forth there, and that had to divide it in some ways. We saw that last year here in BC when Nathan came back and Vernon Adams was the starter, and how that it was very difficult to manage. Again, nobody's fault and no finger pointing here, but the Elks have had great talent. They just have to put it together. They were the #1 rushing team, and it wasn't close.
I know, I saw that today too. I was like, wow.
131 yards a game. And when you have Trey Ford, as you know,
It's gonna make your run game better.
he runs that run and ride the side, you know, that zone read play.
I will say this though to you, but with the change, Jordan McSimic, we know Jordan was here, and no disrespect to him, but one of the things that people said was, hey, he won't run the ball. He won't run the ball. He needs to run it more. How much does his offense have to change in order to fit, you know, what the talent that he has there?
He absolutely has to evolve. There's no question. Like, and you're right. A lot of times, coordinators won't buy in enough. Kent Austin was like that. Sometime early in his career, Tommy Condell in the East was like that. So there's some OCs that have been like that. And when you have Javon Leake and Rankin, and then Trey Ford pushing the edge, widening guys like Matthew Betts, the gaps get bigger. Rankin hits it inside as a power runner. Javon Leake, we saw his 25 miles an hour last year running past everybody. So that's why the running game can be dangerous. And I think to give Trey Ford a little bit of time to grow in this offense, they need the running game and their defense to kind of lead the way.
Yeah, and
This is the Able Auctions pregame show. Closing your business at anywhere in BC. Assets to sell. Email sales at ableauctions.ca. Promote bomber John Michulio Caravetta. Glenn Suter from TSN is our guest. So let's talk about the Lions, of course, the home team. You know, we were talking about Nathan Oregon. We've seen him in training camp. He's rejuvenated. He's having fun again. When you look at the pieces on this offensive line, what Buck Pierce does in terms of the scheme, my whole thing with this Lions offense, it'll go as far as their offensive line.
Well, you know, I agree. I mean, you win in the trenches, you win. So I hear you, Moj. And when we talk about coordinators here, Buck Pierce in Winnipeg pounded the ball with Brady Oliveira. Their offense with Zach Collaros and Brady Oliveira went through the run game.
yeah,
I mean, that's where it started. So I expect him to use James Butler and rotate. And James Butler can be different than Brady. He's going to catch those little swings. Those are extended runs that, you know,
long handoffs.
Yeah, long handoffs. And he'll do that, but he's going to try and get manage those second down situations. And with Nathan, he was very candid with us on our call with him this week, telling us that last year he came from an environment in the NFL where he believed that or felt that every single rep could be his last because he wasn't getting very many. Unfairly when you saw his preseason down there, but that's another story. I won't go down that rabbit hole. But when you have that mentality and that play here, you're squeezing the ball. You're squeezing the ball. So I expect him, and this is a good defense, but I expect him to have a great season.
What do you expect from the Lions defense?
That's the question mark. Like Matthew Betts, I think can regain his form again coming back from the NFL. I think he can regain his form. 2 years ago, he had 18 sacks. Was it 2 or 3? Yeah, 2. Yeah, you're right. 2 years ago, he had 18 sacks led the league. So, you know,
guys, Suits, to occupy 2 guys.
Yeah.
So, Jonah Tavai and you got Dwayne Hendricks who comes over in free agency. Those 2 guys, Christian Covington,
Yeah.
Thibault, those guys that's the key for me. If they can get some pressure inside with those kinds of guys and stop the run, then they're going to have a chance. But as you said, that this is going to be a handful.
Yeah.
This team, like you say, the way they run the ball and the way that Trey Ford can stretch you side to side, man, oh man, they're going to be tough.
By the way, speaking of,
sorry, guys.
I was going to say, since we're up against the clock, speaking of being tough, Calgary up against Hamilton 35-18. They're firing on all cylinders. This might be a very, very tough West Division this year. Suits, we have run out of time, but
Yeah.
before you go,
Yes, sir.
for being a guest today,
Oh, wow. We're giving away stuff this
Yeah.
year. Wow.
you will receive a $50 gift certificate to Neighbors Restaurant, family owned and operated.
Oh,
Neighbors Restaurant has been serving homemade recipes in a warm and friendly atmosphere for over 40 years. Neighbors Restaurant, 5108 Victoria Drive, that's Victoria 35th in Vancouver. And we had buffet smorgasbord to take care of us today.
Thank
Greek
you.
ribs, or the Greek ribs. Don't even worry about anything else. Greek ribs, beef block, close second. The Greek ribs are tremendous.
I love the salad, Greek salads. Do they have a Greek salad? Thank you, guys. I
Oh,
appreciate
yeah.
it. You know I'd come on anytime. Come on.
Now you're going to be coming on all the time for crying out loud.
Thanks, Suits.
Thanks,
Great
for
call,
this.
buddy. Cheers.
Glenn Suter from TSN, he's got the game tonight on TV along with Rod Smith doing the play-by-play. As BC Place gets ramped up for the Snoop Dogg concert, they've got all the fans down on field level in that pit down there in the end zone to our left from our broadcast location. But at the end zone that is closest to Rogers Arena. So that concert will start in probably about 2 or 3 minutes time. So we will have coffee on sound with Snoop spinning here at BC Place Stadium. But we got a lot more to get to. We will hear from head coach Buck Pierce. We'll hear from quarterback Nathan Rourke. We are going to hear from more players such as linebacker Micah Alley and running back James Butler. Plus, we'll get Julio Caravetta's keys to the game. All that and more coming up on the Able Auctions pregame show. Of course, you're listening to the Able Auctions BC Lions pregame show on 730 CKNW and the BC Lions Radio Network.
For the lazy stretchers, curled up ballers, side nappers, and sitting nodders. If comfort is lazy, own it in style. Lazy Boy.
Visit your locally owned Canadian Lazy Boy store today for an easy and relaxed buying experience.
Ready to kick your business marketing to the next level? Call in JM Media, delivering game-changing advertising solutions that drive real results and fuel real growth. With custom marketing and advertising strategies, they'll create a tailored campaign that will align with your needs and reach your target audience from every platform. Digital, social, sports marketing, radio, TV. jmmedia.ca, taking your advertising to new heights.
That's the most, my friends at Clark Woods LLP. Clark Woods LLP is a law firm designed with your convenience in mind. From the moment you first contact their office, they will work side by side with you to ensure your unique set of needs are met. At Clark Woods LLP, they are determined to exceed your expectations of what a lawyer can do for you. Their goal is to make the legal process as painless and as stress-free as possible. Clark Woods LLP, partners in law, partners in your community. Check them out at clarkwoods.ca. Football teams look everywhere in their quest to find talent. So when it comes to looking for your car, don't just settle for your local dealership. The West Coast Auto Group has been the leader in selection and customer service for decades. And they're just a click away if you live outside the Lower Mainland. Visit westcoastautogroup.com for the best deals. Better yet, make the trip. West Coast Toyota.
Mainland, so beautiful.
Just over the bridge in Maple.
Fuck, man. Nice.
From minor fixes to major repairs, you can always count on Variety Auto Solutions to keep your vehicle in peak condition as their experienced mechanics handle all makes and models. Focused on honest pricing, precision car repairs, and outstanding customer service, Variety Auto Solutions' goal is to build long-lasting relationships with their clients. Variety Auto Solutions, located at 819 Burnett Avenue in Coquitlam, or visit them online at varietyAutoSolutions.ca. Lions fans, if you're looking for a new deck or supplies, visit PocoBuildingSupplies.ca for help with your project and delivery through the Lower Mainland and Sea to Sky corridor. Poco Building Supplies, build on our experience.
There are delis, and then there's Choppies.
Choppy's Italian Meat Market and European Deli have been recognized as the best and most authentic Italian deli in Metro Vancouver for over 20 years. And have I mentioned their cucina? It's the home of the best veal sandwich in the city. Check out choppysgroup.com for more info, or better yet, go visit them at 4156 Hastings in North Burnaby. Mangia bene, viva bene. Eat well, live well.
S&N Lighting, quality, nothing else. Visit their beautiful showroom located at 5350 Imperial Street, Burnaby, just one block east of the Royal Oak SkyTrain station, or visit them online at snlighting.ca.
Kids grow so fast. They always need the next size clothes or different toys. It never ends. Once Upon a Child Story is here to help with a huge selection of gently used kids' clothes, toys, and baby gear at up to 70% off retail prices. And did you know Once Upon a Child locations are independently owned and operated? When you shop at Once Upon a Child Surrey, you're shopping local, helping a family just like yours be part of the community. Shop local. Shop Once Upon a Child Surrey, 3832 King George Boulevard in the Alder Crossing Shopping Center.
For the lazy stretchers, curled up ballers, side nappers, and sitting nodders. If comfort is lazy, own it in style. Lazy Boy.
Visit your locally owned Canadian Lazy Boy store today for an easy and relaxed buying experience.
Now, more of the Able Auctions pregame show. Closing your business anywhere in BC, assets to sell, email sales@ableauctions.ca. It's time for the Coaches Show, proudly brought to you by Prospera Credit Union, a premier partner of the BC Lions. Prospera members enjoy exclusive perks for all BC Lions home games and merchandise. Visit Prospera.ca to learn more. Here's Bob the Moj Marjanovic and Leo's head coach, Buck Pierce.
Buck, game number one, officially as head coach of the BC Lions. I imagine there's got to be some butterflies.
Oh, for sure, but it's just, it's butterflies, just, good energy, right? It's just good energy. It's I'm prepared. We're prepared.
Turn, guys.
I'm excited to see the guys go out there and play. I'm excited to see how they respond, to adversity and see what kind of makeup they have.
What's been the biggest challenge being an OC and then being a head coach during the game? Is it game management? Is thinking ahead? I mean, obviously you got to look at the big picture a lot more as head coach on that.
Yeah, for sure, right? But I think also, like, as a coordinator, and I think if you ask most of them that have made that transition or kind of done both, you're always kind of thinking about, situational football. You're always kind of thinking about flow of game. You're thinking about, complementary football, how the game's going, where you are offensively, what you're doing well, and what it's going to take to win in the fourth quarter if need be, right? So, the head coach doesn't necessarily, change that much. Probably one of the biggest differences is, just when the offense is off the field, defense is on the field. I'm talking defense with the defense coaches.
What do you want to see from your team?
I want to see guys, playing physical. I want to see them, play clean. Be smart. And also want to see, how we respond. Right? There's going to be adversity. I tell them, that all the time. There's adversity in every game. There's adversity every day of our lives, and so I want to see guys, be able to push through that and respond, and some mental toughness and grit.
I know you're really focused on the little things, right, in games, and do all the little things right, you should be all right.
Yeah, it's really in a 4-quarter 60-minute football game, every play does matter, right? I think you look at those situations and you look at everything, and as a coach, you always look at what you can do better in situations and constantly learning and those type of things. But that's what I talk about with the guys about playing clean, making sure all the little details are taken care of, and when we do fail, or we do have a mistake, being able to address it and move on and get better, right? I think a lot of times when mistakes happen with teams that aren't mentally strong, they happen to have one mistake and it kind of snowballs into 3, 4, and 5, right? So we got to make sure that we we're clean, we're tight with our details, and that stuff comes down to just being focused.
Buck, best of luck.
Thanks so much.
Head coach Buck Pierce of the BC Lions. Of course, this team taking on the Edmonton Elks today here at BC Place Stadium. Season opener for both teams. This is the Able Auctions pregame show. Closing your business anywhere in BC, assets to sell, email sales at ableoptions.ca. It's the most, Bob Marjanovic, along with Julio Caravetta and Snoop Dogg performing as we speak to the end zone to our left, the end zone that is closest to Rogers Arena here. They got the big stage set up in the entry. And everyone paying attention.
Oh, yeah.
But even Julio's breaking out a move
moving
or
a
two.
little bit, yeah. Well, he's one of those guys that kind of, he spans a lot of generations, or not, excuse me, a lot of decades.
Yeah. Saw him DirecTV in San Francisco Super Bowl week. That was with Red Hot Chili Peppers. Oh, and then of course Minnesota. Saw him at the Playboy party. So
Well, how many years ago was it the Super Bowl party or the Super Bowl halftime they did? Remember that epic one?
It's just a blur.
It's just a blur. Remember the one? It was LA, right? It was the one with Eminem. And
Time now for the Sandman Hotel starting lineups. Let's get to it. We will start with the BC Lions on offense. Jarrell Broxton is here. He will play today. Now, in case you're wondering why we're mentioning that, he left the team earlier this week. There was an issue, I believe, a death in his family, and our condolences to Jarrell and his family. So he left the team. He is back. He will start at left tackle. At left guard, you will see Corey Woodruff. At center, Michael Couture. Right guard, of course, it's been a black hole in terms of injuries with David Foku going down in Edmonton. Anna Una getting injured in Victoria. So Chris Slugger, the veteran, will start at right guard. At right tackle, the prized acquisition in the offseason, Dejon Allen. He will be your right tackle. Of course, Nathan Rourke is your quarterback. Riley Pickett, a pretty good story in training camp. Former D lineman and long snapper, has looked good at fullback. That's where he'll start. James Butler at running back. Your receiving core with Stanley Berryhill, Keon Hatcher, Javon Catoy, Justin McKinnis, and Eberhard, or I should say Eberhard, Julio. You look at that roster, you look at that offense. Again, like I told Suits, I think that offense will go as far as the offensive line takes it.
no question. And when you heard Moj naming off these starters that's 4 Americans that are playing up front, right? That's between Broxton, Woodruff, Slugger, and Allen. The other name you're going to hear, I think, a little bit tonight is Jermaine Jackson, who's one of the newcomers that's arrived. He's going to be primarily the punt returner and kick returner, but he will and has seen quite a bit of action on the offense. So you're going to hear his name quite a bit.
Meanwhile, Edmonton up front, I almost said Toronto, Julio.
It is almost Toronto, isn't it?
Robbie Smith at defensive end. Jake Serezno spent last year in Toronto after spending the previous 5 in Edmonton. He'll start at tackle. Jared Brinkman at the other tackle spot. And Brandon Barlow at the defensive end. So those 4 players all at one point playing for the Argos. Middle linebackers, Morgan. He led the league in tackles along with his cohort Nick Anderson on the weak side. Both of them had 111 defensive tackles. At the nickel backer, Cordell Jackson. Free safeties, Royce Metier, another former Argo and Stampeder. On one side, at the corner, Devondre Bynum and former BC Lion Manny Rugamba at the half. On the other side, Tyrell Ford, the ex-Blue Bomber, who was second in the league last year with 7 interceptions. He'll be the corner on one side along with Kobe Williams. Meanwhile, for the Edmonton Elks on offense, the offensive line from left to right, Ivy, Corte, Beard, McKellar, and Boyko. The receiving core will feature Stephen Dunbar Jr., who was 4th in the league last year with 1,159 yards. Curly Gittens Jr. was 4th with 85 catches. So a dynamic duo on that side. On the other side, they'll have Arkell Smith, Keon Julian Grant, and Zach Mathis. Their running game, we touched on it with Suits. Of course, Trey Ford is a quarterback. The running game will feature